Mr. Royston, thank you so much for coming to Catalysing Social Impact 2019.
My pleasure, Narendran. I should congratulate you guys. Excellent interaction, great energy. Keep it up.
And it's very proud moment actually for us to be, kind of you having as a member in the Innovative Financing Solution Circle. How do you feel about it? Like, what do you think about the term innovative financing? I mean, it is something which is not very clearly understood by the sector people here in India. How do you feel about it?
I think for us, terminology is not as important as getting the work done. If you look at globally the need for the Sustainable Development Goals financing, that gap is $30 trillion. If we do what we've always done, the gap will continue to be there and grow, which is why there is a need for finding new ways, innovative ways, catalyzing. The words are not important. The fact is, how do we bring in that type of capital? And the ability for us to bring in different pools of capital is critical. The governments alone are not going to meet the gap. Private capital alone is not going to meet the gap. Philanthropic capital alone is not going to meet the gap. CSR capital alone is not going to meet the gap. But if we can blend all these together, if we find the right both product, structure, risk motivation, return motivation, put them together, we will meet that gap. So whether you call it innovative finance, whether you call it blended finance, whether you call it impact bonds, for me is irrelevant. Coming together of the right type of capital for the right reasons, for the people at the center of the problem, that's important.
Okay. I know that you had mentioned about SDG bond in the discussions we had yesterday. Can you a little more explain like what it is? Because like it was very interesting actually for us to know what it is.
I think the way the SDGs have been approached so far have been in silos. People are looking at it from their own perspective and doing their own piece, which is good. What is also happening on the impact bond side is people are obsessed about who the funder is. And therefore, if a government is funding the outcomes, it is a SIB. If the private companies are funding the outcomes, it's a DIB. Why do we waste our time calling a product based on who the funder is? More, we need to focus on raising the funding based on the outcome. So we have kept aside the definition of SDG financing. We've kept aside the definition of SIBs and DIBs. We've created this new structure called the SDG impact bonds, where the impact bonds are based on the goal that they address. So goal 2 will be a bond on agriculture, food security. Goal 5 will be a bond on women's empowerment. We did the world's first SDG impact bond on women's empowerment with 2,000 tribal women in Madhya Pradesh. We did it in 3 months as opposed to 3 years that others are doing it. We did the second impact bond again within 3 months on goal 8, which is on skilling for 20,000 youth to be trained for jobs. So the ability for us to be able to focus on the outcome, we are not bothered about the outcome funder right now. The work will bring the outcome funder to the table. If we are obsessed about finding outcome funders first, we will take 3 years. If we are obsessed about doing a good job, serving the client, meeting the goals, outcome funds will come.
Okay. I know that this is something which is very new to the sector actually now. Not many NGOs or the kind of sector players are not even into looking at this kind of bond now. Do you see we are moving in the right direction and kind of capacity we have got will help us move towards it?
30 years ago, microfinance was very new to the world. When Grameen started it, it was very new. Today, I chair the Indian Microfinance Network, 42 million clients in India, all of them women. So if there is a good idea, if there is the right motivation, if the people at the center of the product, it will work. We believe that these micro impact bonds, SDG impact bonds that we are doing, if people understand it correctly and have the right motivation, it will become probably a world-changing product.
I know, like even yesterday we talked about the marketplace for the innovative financing products in India. Do you think it is going to be like very much required at this point of time? And what is your kind of input or kind of ideas which can make this marketplace go well?
So my dream in India is a capital with a conscience ecosystem. We started with the first social investment bank 12 years ago, Grameen Capital. We had to bring in more than $200 million to the microfinance sector. 2 years ago, when we realized that microfinance box is checked, there are small finance banks, there are mainstream banks, the whole spectrum is taken care of on financial inclusion, we turned our attention to the SDGs. affordable health, affordable education, renewable energy, agri, financial inclusion. There, we created Grameen Impact, a debt company. We have tried the policy for a social venture capital fund with SEBI. And we've been pushing for a social stock exchange. Now, if we can bring all of these together, to my mind, that's marketplace. So how do we all work together to build this capital with a conscience ecosystem? There is no, I've done it, you've done it, Vritti's done it, Grameen's done it. It is about working together for the benefit of our customers.
I know you've been with a very busy schedule, and then it was really good having you yesterday in the discussions. How do you feel that the whole solution circle concept is moving? Do we feel that it is going to have some sort of solutions which will be implemented or kind of contributed to the sector by the way in which we are going right now?
That is for you to answer. I'm ready. Let's do one together. Okay. Let's take the agri sector. Let's do with Vritti and Grameen Impact an impact bond for gold too. Let's focus on food security and agri supply chain. And let's see if we can do it in a month.
Okay.
If we can do it in a month, then your solution circle works.
Okay.
If we can't do it in a month, then we have to go back to the drawing board. Are you ready for the challenge?
We are ready actually very much. And thank you so much for actually coming down here.